What is going on? Welcome on into today's live stream, everyone. It is Friday, July 21st, 2023. We are live and we are back, and this is the last live stream for about a week here on the channel, as we're about to be dipping out for about a week to New Jersey, visiting family, hitting the beach, and hopefully have a great time. We are looking at Tesla. I'll cover this one first. This is what I traded today. Honestly, like it worked, but like it came back. I'm kind of not surprised, I guess. Why am I surprised? Who cares? There were two opportunities I thought that were setting up, and both of them would have really maybe four, and all of them would have worked pretty well. I played the downside today because I come at this from the frame of the 1 hour this morning, and I was like, hey, Tesla, if you can break down below, yesterday and pre-market lows, I like you. To the downside, and it ended up providing a nice little chunk to the downside. So I had levels marked out yesterday low, and I think pre-market or post-market low from last night. Both of those broke, and we got a nice little flush to the downside. Kind of a little bit of a back test here, and then it flushed off. That's where I took profits, and then that was it. Could have even turned it back to the upside here as it broke back here and here, but I didn't care. I was not paying attention to it at the time, and I also don't trade stuff when we have cleared. Like, I'm not going to trade Tesla to the upside if we just did this. You know what I'm saying? So that was the deal. But outside of that, the S&P is kind of flat. Qs are down. Here's QQQ's chart. It's actually, you know what? This would have been a trade. Maybe it still is a val. It just barely broke. Actually, this would have been the idea I was looking at earlier. Like if this happened to have broken like around here, I maybe would have traded it, but I just didn't. It didn't happen, and then also I left. So now maybe there's something here, but I don't know. Last 45 minutes, last 40 minutes of the day, I'm not a huge fan. But just did break down below not only today's low, but yesterday's low. So that could provide momentum to the downside into the close. Although at the same time, why that's sketchy, why that's not super awesome is because it's actually not terrible. It's maybe filling a gap to the downside. You are in a bigger picture uptrend. So you're playing the downside. Yes, maybe we are in a pullback. Maybe we are reversing this bigger uptrend and we're going to have a bigger downtrend for a while. Who knows? But we don't know that until we start breaking down between, breaking some lower highs. And I don't think we break some lower highs until we're down in here on QQQ. So we still got a ways to go to break those lower highs. So, or those higher lows. Sorry, higher lows, I mean. Yeah, so that's the deal. That's the story right now as we wrap things up. I have a hedge on SQQQ. That is the only thing. Well, not the only thing. That's what I had I added that to the Robinhood account. And so we'll hang out with that, and that's what I'll be doing, I guess, into the next week. What's going on, guys? Hope you are having a great little Friday here. Crabby day overall. I had Palantir breaking down. Yeah, I had stopped on I put a stop loss on it on the contracts. They're probably going to get stopped out if they haven't already. They haven't gotten stopped out already. But yeah, my level was 1625. It's actually hilarious how that exactly held today, like pretty much on Palantir. But if 1625 goes, I will stop out on it. It'll still be green, but yeah, and it's not super surprising. Why? Because you had like really good momentum on small and mid caps for like a couple of days or like the past couple of weeks, and Palantir was there, but it was one of the last ones to kind of really go for it in terms of this recent break to the upside. So if the momentum continued, I think it would have been a very nice trade, and it still might be if it somehow holds 1625 and like survives next week. Who knows? But this doesn't look great. Probably breaks down and stops out. But the whole plan with the trade was I had 20 calls out to August 4th, and I took profits on half of them at 125%. So you can't lose on the rest. And so even if they go to zero, they don't lose. So still, it's not the biggest of trades. It's nothing crazy, but it would have been better. I don't even want to say that. There's no reason to say it was bad. It was not a bad trade. It was actually a very valid trade. Volume came back in. Everything was there. It's just that when you have a market that's pushing up, the way it did, if we are in the early stages of a pullback, or maybe we got a bigger pullback coming, right? You know, you don't know when that's coming, and you can't try to act like you do, because if you do, you know, you could have missed. How much of this move could you have missed, right? If you thought that it's over, we're going to pull back, and there's no way we're going to keep going. So you can't act like that. Although at the same time, the higher we go, the more we have to say, hey, the likelihood of a pullback becomes, you know, larger and larger the higher we go. So I'm not super surprised that market's kind of given us some pullback, and that's pulling back. Got close. The target that I was looking for was 20 plus, and it hit like 19. So it got close. You know, it almost got there from like the 17.25 break. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens into next week, I guess. Otherwise, I have a stop loss on the contracts at like 10 cents or something like that. Meta's down today decently. Nvidia's down a little bit. Tesla was down more, came back. Other sectors, though, I want to pull up, see what else is doing. What else is doing stuff? I mean, honestly, not a ton. Like, not a ton of craziness today. What about the bond market? The 10-year is essentially doing well. The 10-year did exactly what you kind of wanted it to do if you are like bullish on yields. So did it perfectly back test the breakout? Like I would have wanted to see it like hold this area and then go. Yeah, it didn't do that, but like it came back into here, which is why it still totally could be a false breakout. Don't get me wrong. And this is the next key spot to break, like up around like this, you know, 3.86. Breaks 3.86, goes 3.9 plus. Okay, that looks decent, like it's going back for more. If it can't, you know, eventually if it breaks down below 3.69, 3.7, that's like the downside. It's just kind of, again, it's like back into this, like you had this move, came right back, but really you're back into the same choppy range that you were chilling in for 2 months almost, or a month and a half, you know, before that. So not too much to talk about there. DXY back testing the breakdown. Yeah, this is actually doing a nice little pullback, or a bounce back, if you will. DXY, the dollar. Actually, let me put these watermarks back up on the screen. My bad for not having them on for a second. DXY, the dollar, is right back up into essentially the lows that we were chilling on here. It had a big breakdown, so I am not surprised on the back test here at all. If you are bearish on the dollar, what you'd want to see is ideally, you know, somewhere in here, it start to kind of roll back over. You know, that could take weeks to happen. Doesn't have to happen right now. But, you know, ideally, you don't want to see it get back over 102 on DXY if you're bearish on the dollar. So if that's going to play out, you know, ideally 102 holds as resistance. You still got to go about $1 up to break that. So nothing insane yet. But again, this is a big move, right? This is a big move down. Wouldn't surprise for a back test, and we're kind of getting it right now. So overall, that's kind of what we're dealing with. SQ's pulled back, day trading the bear ETF. Dollar strong, weak gold and silver. Yeah. Yep. XLU. Let's pull it up. I'm super tired. I don't know, man. I'm freaking tired. I gotta go to bed early tonight because I gotta get up at like 4 o'clock tomorrow. And ideally, I would like to sleep some because, you know, when you're, well, that's breaking out of this nice little wedge, by the way, on XLU. Utilities. Looks pretty good. Utilities looks pretty good. So support level down here around 64 or so. Breaking out of resistance now at like 68. That's breaking out of 68. Next, like key spot is going to be up here towards like 70. 70 will be the next spot to watch. On XLU, between 69 and 70 was a consolidation. That'll be our next spot to watch. This chart looks good, though. I mean, this looks pretty good. Honestly, like if you had to, this is not a bad potential swing idea. If you gave it if you really gave it some leeway and said, hey, my stop loss will be down here, and my take profit could be somewhere up in here. Like it could be a nice trade on XLU if you give it the swing. Give it the swing. The Dow was super strong this week. The Dow is down a 0.0. The Dow is like flat today. The Dow is super strong. Here's the weekly chart on the Dow. I have a current swing on DU Dow, I think, which is 3x Dow. It's closing super strong. Looks good. I'm honestly looking for all-time highs on the Dow. as a legitimate take profit, or at least a test of all-time highs, talking like 365 on DIA would be like a legit spot to take profits, and then my stop loss will be around 335 on DIA. So we'll see. I could bring that stop loss up now to maybe like 340, maybe, or something like that, but that was the original plan on DIA. So we'll see. This time frame is the weekly. I go back and forth between daily and weeklies when we look at these bigger charts. This is the weekly chart right now on DIA. The XLU we're looking at a daily, I think. So but yeah, this week was a 5-4-5. It's not a very common thing. Actually, it was the first time. I'll pull up my stats here. The first time, I have a trade review video coming out next week, but if I go back to this month, kind of covering. Let me get myself off the screen for a second. But we had a 5-for-5, so all 5 days of this week were green. Nothing like insane on the P&L, but decently green. And compared to the reds, like, obviously we completely killed the reds, and we're finishing. I'm done for the month trading wise. Actually, I might trade the 31st. I might not, but essentially done for the month, and we're closing the account at new highs. So it's a good thing. But yeah, it was surprising that we had we went 5 for 5 on trading days this week, which is pretty cool. I did that the first week of May. May was my best, May was my best month, I think, of the year, trading metric wise. And June was okay. It was like, honestly, not like that good. It was fine. It was green, but it wasn't like super, super good. And then July was just a solid month. If I can do July again and again and again and again, I'd be very, very happy with that. So super happy with it. Obviously, there were some mistakes that last week. I had a red week last week. Not a huge one, a very small red week compared, but it was the first red week since May. I think I had one red week in May, but it was a tiny one. Actually, no. Yeah, it was a tiny one. But yeah, so I'll take it. I will take it. And I talk a little bit more about the stats and the details and the behind the scenes of that, but it was, it's the same thing. It's like, it's just, it sounds stupid. It's like that everyone says the same thing, but it's dialing in the setup. I play one setup. It goes, the setup works long and short, just criteria has to be met. And once it is on the 1 hour chart time frame is like the first frame, and then I take the entry off the 5 minute chart. We get the setup, we play the charts, and that's it. And then it worked good this month. Really, this week, last week, and the week before that, it wasn't working that well. I'll be honest. I was navigating it pretty well, but it wasn't working that clean. And then there was a day last week that I probably traded way too much. I did trade way too much. So I could have avoided one of the decent red days. And then there was a mistake the other day, I think, that I made that was like, really, I shouldn't have made that mistake. So looking back, there was things I can learn from for sure, but you're not going to be perfect. Anybody who's preaching that, like, these crazy win rates or whatever, who's claiming to be perfect, like, they're just bullshitting you. That's not real. It's not real. And if it is, like, it's a narrowed in time frame that they're picking on or whatever, and they're faking their numbers is what they're doing. So Soxos is in an upper channel, just back tested lower level. Yeah, you know what? This thing is kind of, it's not really doing a ton right now on SOXL. Here's the daily chart on SOXL. Yeah, I mean, it's right back into these higher lows. It's still strong. This is the semiconductor 3X bullish ETF. Still strong, don't get me wrong, but nothing crazy. I don't really have a large, let's pull up the Robinhood account. Let's pull her up. Here is the Robinhood account. This past week, it is apparently up. It's like essentially flat on the week. Let's go to what's today. Is it up or down? Today it's up. I had like 150 plus shares of Soxol in here. I'm now down to, what am I down to? 20 shares. So I really don't have a lot left of Soxol. 500 bucks worth to be exact, and it's up 133% from my average. So cool, but also like, okay, I'm not like, if it keeps going, great. But if it starts to break down, what was my levels I was looking for? If it comes back below like 18, I'm out on the rest. So I'll hold on to it because it's a little bit of exposure to the upside if we keep going up. But, you know, the next levels I'm looking for is like 30 plus and then maybe 35, 40. If we somehow got there, then yeah, I'll just be scaling out like 10 shares at a time. Like only like 20 left. So a little at a time into the strength. What else do we talk about in here? Yeah, so in here, pretty much all covered calls are going to go. I got a Exxon Mobil put debit spread, small. I got a couple of those as like a little bit of a hedge because that was really weak last week. That's when I picked it up, but it seems to have bounced back. They have earnings at the end of next week. Honestly, because of the contracts and because of what they are, I'm probably going to let it go through earnings, which is of course risky, but it's been giving weak vibes compared to oil. So I'm going to hold on to it for now and think that this could be a decent downside play. Maybe. Who knows? But oil kind of bounced back. Yeah, oil's up another good bit today. So oil bounced back. So that's kind of why it's not really working great. But despite oil's chart looks really good, like looks pretty good, and Exxon does not, which kind of gives me like, something's up there. That's why I entered it. Also, it broke down below a key level, which is why I entered it. But that was more so meant to be a hedge position, sort of, if you will. But yeah, outside of that, other positions in here, nothing really changed. AGQ got very close to our 33 strike price covered call. That was going to, that's expiring in like 30 minutes. The thing is, if we go to silver, because AGQ is a leveraged silver's pulling back, which is like not surprising to me at all. Silver probably needs to pull back after the move it had. So now the question is, what do we do? I could just sell it next week, or I could start to sell some closer to the money covered calls and do weekly. So if I go to AGQ options, let's see if I can go out to like next. Oh, they only have monthlies. This is why it's like a little bit wonky here. Do I want to hold on for another month, or do I want to just get rid of it? That's what I was going to contemplate. So yeah, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do here. I could go and see. I honestly won't sell one if it's red. I'll probably wait to sell it on a green and then sell something close. Let's say AGQ has a decent push. It goes to 34. I might sell a 35 or 36 covered call for August 18th. And they hopefully will be pretty juicy and premium, get a nice premium, and then get taken out whenever the time comes if it stays above. We'll see. Or I could just sell the shares. I don't know. I haven't 100% decided there. It's my silver exposure, so I wanted to have some silver exposure in the account. But other than that, that's really it. BITO is kind of pulled back a bit. Our hedges, SQQQ, we are up 5% on this hedge. I just bought 100 shares of SQQQ, and it's meant to hedge. I thought about selling a covered call on this. The problem is that if I sell a covered call, it defeats the purpose of the hedge, right? Because then, well, if I sell a covered call and now I sell a 20 covered call, what if the market gets destroyed for whatever crazy reason and now SQs go to 26 because there's some crash type of shit? I don't know. Then I kind of cap my upside, and you know what I mean? Like I could just to make a couple extra bucks in premium, not really worth it. So I'm not going to sell a covered call on this, although that did tempt me for a second. Not going to sell covered call. I will just probably scale out of this in really two spots. So if I look at QQQ's chart, the NAS essentially, there's two spots I'm looking for. And the first spot is maybe going to be even hit soon around this like 374. So if it gets a dump into the close, I might sell a little bit. And the next spot would be down around 368. Those would be two gaps that we have on the chart that we'd be looking to fill. So that's one right here and then one right here. If we fill those gaps, I think the hedge would have been good. It served its purpose. I would want to lock some of it in, if not all of it in, and then put a stop loss maybe on the rest of it at break even, something like that, just so that the hedge did its job and now it made me some money, and now I have more money than I would have had if I didn't hedge, essentially is the whole point. So that's the purpose of the hedge. So we'll see. But that's maybe a next week thing that I can do from the beach on my phone if I wanted to. But honestly, you're getting a 5-minute opportunity of a little flag, if you will, right here. If we break this low on Qs, maybe get a dumper to the close. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we have the SQ hedge. It's just meant to hedge the portfolio. That's really it. And then outside of the SQQQ hedge, we also have SRS, real estate, ultra short real estate ETF. It's also a hedge. This is down 15%. It's a 2x bearish real estate ETF. This is actually down 15%. But I'm fine to hold on to this. I have no really reason to shit my pants about this right now. Just it's meant to be a hedge, right? The market's gone up the past couple months. Portfolio has done well the past couple months. This position individually has not, but also it's not down as much as like I think it could be if it was like, for example, if it was an SQQQ over the past couple of months. That got killed. So SRS is essentially, this is the short real estate ETF. It's a 2x short real estate ETF. The reason why I liked it so much was because we got higher lows here despite everything that's going on. So if we start to come down under like 15, I'd be more concerned about it and say maybe this needs to be getting killed, or I can reconsider it. But there's no reason to do anything right now, I think, on it. Just another way to hedge the portfolio. And honestly, the portfolio is not like super heavy stocks right now. Like, yeah, we have JEPI, which is like kind of heavy stocks, but it pays a monthly dividend. That's really nice. Then we have silver, we have bond exposure. And we got Bitcoin exposure. So, just whatever. Let it do its thing. Let it do its thing for now. Just let her work. And now I think we'll probably sell some covered calls next week. That's the plan, pretty much. If I see stuff, if the market's up or a stock that I'm in, a position that I'm in is up a lot, I will sell a covered call or look to sell a covered call for either a week out or a month out, depending upon what the option availability is. And that's it. So nothing too insane going on in the portfolio right now, but it's up, what is it up on the year? It's up like 44%, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, like we don't need to give that back if we get a pullback. So making sure we're hedged properly and we're locking gains on things that have done well, which is what we've been doing. And then rotating into more defensive stuff, the dividend stuff, so that we can cash flow it and slowly build it versus trying to nail the next move. Because again, who the fuck knows, man, what's going to happen next? If you think you know what's going to happen, right? People thought that things were going to go down when we were at SPY, I don't know, 380. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to 350, we're going 340, we're going 300. SPY's going to get killed. SPY's gone straight up. So not trying to be the hero by any means. But there's a lot of ways that even without being a hero, you could just slowly build. And that is what it's all about. That's where the mindset has shifted over the past couple of years. That is for sure. I think I'll talk about that in like the next video that I think will be posted tomorrow. This week's kind of behind the scenes mini vlog, if you will. You can sell cover puts. Canto and Robin to short 100 share stock, and then you can sell cover puts. I could just sell a cash secured put, like that's an idea, and I'm 99% sure that does not use margin. So here's a thing. Here's another idea, right? As an additional like way to cash flow a portfolio. This QQQ trade, if it wasn't 10 minutes until the close or 20 minutes until close, like this is actually really enticing for me. Like I would love to see it break down and play a short, but I'm not going to do it because there's 20 minutes until close. Although this is the monthly expiration, right? So this could get some volatility. We can get some volatility here into the close, but I'm like pretty sure that you don't actually use margin. If you were to sell a put on a stock, right? That's essentially you going like, hey, I'll buy 100 shares if it closes underneath the put price by expiration day. You could sell puts even if you don't have the cash, but you have the margin ability to buy the shares, but it doesn't use margin until you actually have to buy them. So you could, if we start pulling back and you wanted to get some extra cash flow through utilizing margin, but not utilizing margin, if you will, you could just sell puts. Problem is puts aren't as juicy right now, given the market's gone up so much. Ideally, you want to be selling puts when everyone is kind of shitting their pants, the market's going down. Ideally, in a perfect world, right? But you can check me on that. I'm like 99% sure that's how it works. But I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I looked it up recently too, and I'm like pretty sure that's what I found. Hydrate. Gotta hydrate. Don't try to be a hero. No, 100%. Especially right now. Especially since the portfolio has done well. No need. Kyle's popping through. What's going on? Check out the Ford Maverick. Nothing for sale. Didn't get a test drive. Looks smaller than a Ford 150. I mean, that is the, if you're gonna like, we've been looking at used car stuff, but if you're gonna buy a car right now, like I think it's totally the new route. I would think, because it just makes, it's obviously if you can get, well, if you have to pay crazy interest, it might not be as appealing. But if you can pay cash or finance it for now, and then who knows in the future, it's just you're gonna, like, used car prices, you look around and like you can look around and find some crazy numbers of like this thing used is going for like just under what, for this car used with 30K miles is going for like just under what I could buy a new one that's a new year or 3 years newer for right now. That's weird. Like, that's just the market that we're in. But we'll see. I might be in the market for something soon. I've been saying that for a while, but nothing has made, it still doesn't make any sense for my needs right now to do anything. But maybe things get attractive in the near future, maybe into the end of this year, next year, especially because the new models, the 2024s, are starting to come out too. Who knows how that if that shakes anything up. Netflix down 2.5 today. What's Target? Target's down. Let's check out that Target chart. Here's Target's weekly chart. It's actually had a nice week. Kind of back testing that level again. It's had a nice week. Believe it or not, on Target. mRNA, man. mRNA, I feel like, is holding on by a thread here. It's actually had a strong week here. It might look like it's going to try to reverse. Market has momentum. SPY made a new low of the day, I think, just now. But yeah, I mean, this thing looks like a short and a half. If we can get under this like 116, 115, oof. Just patiently waiting for that. I got an alert set. Maybe that's like the next swing on the Roth account. But yeah, we had one that I entered like last week. Was it last week? Was it that far back? Or is it Monday? Maybe it was Monday or Tuesday this week. On Palantir. That worked, but like didn't really truly go for it. It's still going to be green, but it just wasn't like crazy. $20K loan at 8% is $138 a month, $133 a month. Doesn't include principal. Yeah, no, that's not a bad. That's not that terrible in the grand scheme. Plus, you also got to think about it as like almost an investment perspective too, right? Like, if like that's how I'm kind of viewing it right now, because like I don't need it, and so I'm not doing it. But if I were to get one, and here are the costs, here's going to be insurance, here's going to be the monthly payments, or if I'm going to pay cash, then I pay cash, and then how much is insurance and maintenance, right? On average, we can just kind of guesstimate. Does that net me? Is that going to bring, like, what is it going to do? So like, is it going to free up more time for other things? Is it going to allow me to do things that are going to make me more money elsewhere, potentially, right? That's kind of how I'm always going to look at it. So I don't know if yes, or is it going to save me money on the back end of other things? Let's say I'm Ubering a lot or whatever, like, you know, all needs to be taken into consideration, I think, outside of it being a fun purchase where if you have plenty of funds and you're like, yeah, I want to buy this because it's going to be kind of fun and it's going to be an enjoyable thing, then buy it. But that's, oh wait, Spotify's upping prices here. Premium's going to cost $10.99 a month. Motherfuckers. They're upping it by $1. Let's check out Spotify's chart too. Haven't checked on this stock in a long time. Spotify, did that move the price at all? Not really. Didn't really do anything. Well, today Spotify is up. Earnings are about to come out too. Spotify had a big bounce. Oh my God, had a big bounce from end of last year. Jeez, didn't realize that. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but if you're if you use Spotify versus Apple Music, I'm not sure what everyone's preferences are. I'm a big Apple guy, as in I have like pretty much every Apple product that, not everyone, but like I have a lot of Apple products. I won't buy those stupid over-ear headphones. I think those are just too expensive and they're just stupid. Maybe I'm going to eat my words in a couple months or in a year or two. Who knows? But I won't do that. But I have pretty much all other Apple products. I will not pay, or I will not jump over to Apple Music. I won't do it. Spotify, I am Spotify for life. Spotify for life. I'm not doing Apple Music. Dividends paying for the vehicle. That's the way to do it. You want to buy a car? I'll buy a car once I have enough dividend, income to pay for it. Meta bouncing. Let's check. Meta was down. Yeah, it's down about 2.5% on the day, but it is bouncing a little bit, getting a little bouncy here. Yeah. 290. It came down to 291s. 291. Almost 291 is what it came down to, and then it bounced. Higher low here too. Then it bounced. All I'm going to say too, with the we're going back to this really quick. If we have months and we continue to have months like this into the rest of this year and into next year, it will not be very long before that Robinhood is ripping with some additional deposits, which will be getting me, ripping in terms of some dividends, which is going to be a lot of fun. So we're working it. We're going to be nice and cautiously, our head down, kind of grinding on it. No reason to go crazy about it yet. But if we can keep it up and stay disciplined, man, this is going to be an awesome additional stream to be building up into. So we'll see. But it's working for now. SoundCloud and YouTube. I never really was a big SoundCloud guy. Like everyone's like back in like when I was in high school, I feel like people were like, "Oh yeah, it's on SoundCloud. Check this out on SoundCloud." I'd like never really even knew what that. I know what that is, obviously, but I'm like, SoundCloud, what? But I do watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. In terms of like, I'll put on music in the background when I'm working or stuff. The thing that really threw me off was I started listening to like lo-fi music on my Spotify. Completely fucked me up because I started doing that, and then I listen to the Discover Weeklies a lot, so it'll give me kind of like a new or like whatever mix of stuff that I don't know, I might be interested in. And so because I was listening to so much lo-fi, it started giving me all this like lo-fi in my Discover Weekly mixed with other stuff that's like in the genres that I listen to a lot. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Because it's like Spotify didn't understand that, like, no. I don't want you to recommend a lo-fi. That's just from when I'm working and I need some background music. So then I started saying, no. When we need the lo-fi, we go to YouTube. We pull up a YouTube tab, pop a lo-fi up on the screen, and then we can put that in the background and do that. We will not be doing that on Spotify. Isn't that also a tax benefit as well? Right, using margin. Amazon Prime worth it. In terms of the other stuff they offer, like I don't know how much that costs these days, but it used to be like $80. It's definitely worth more now. It's $140 a year, $15 a month. So $140 if you pay annually. I mean, I don't know. Everyone probably has someone that they can use a Prime account off of, whether it's a fan member, friend, whatever. I feel like it's so everyone mooches off each other. Back when I was in college, we had it like for $80. My whole family was using it for like $80 around my Prime account. Like, I don't know, but you get a lot of stuff here. They have music, they have movies now. Like they got Prime Video. I don't know if that's all included. I think it is. I think it is in Amazon Prime. Prime Video, yeah, you get Thursday Night Football too on that. Pretty good. The Boys is a pretty good show. If you guys haven't seen that, it's hilarious. I love that show. The Boys. Prime Reading, didn't really think of that, but yeah, okay, cool. Amazon Music, shopping discounts, food delivery, yeah, fast and free delivery. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is if you use it a lot. I mean, pretty much everything we buy is on Amazon. I feel like these days, if I need something, I just go on Amazon and buy it. Like I will, outside of like going to the grocery store, like which you also could do on Amazon, but my experience with that is not as good. I feel like we've done it a couple of times. It's just like I honestly just like going to the grocery store and like picking stuff out myself. But you could do that if you really also want to save time. I think it's pretty darn worth it, in the grand scheme. If you use it a lot, if you're not ordering Amazon very much, or you don't want to use like Prime Video, okay. But you get all the Thursday Night Football games. You know how much that costs now? You want to go and buy you can't just go and, which I've talked about before, you can't just go and buy a freaking sports package by itself. You have to buy the cable package or like the YouTube TV base plan and then upgrade to the sports plan and pay a fuck ton of money on top of that. It's like, no, I just want the one sports plan. Like I don't want the other channels. I just want the sports channels. But I think someone needs to come along, like I've said before, and have a completely customizable TV plan that you can create yourself. That is, I come in, I say, hey, I want to get these 6 channels, and that is it. That is it. I don't want anything else, and I will pay per each individual channel, add that up to my cart. That's a monthly fee, done. That's what someone needs to do. And I feel like it's just not that easy, but that's what I'm waiting for. So that's a business idea for someone to shake up the old YouTube TV, Netflix, and Hulu, all the streaming services. Shake them up because there's too many of them. It's the same fucking shit. Like they came out and it was like, oh, Netflix or whatever, Hulu or YouTube TV, like all these things. But they're all the same. They're all doing the same shit. Like we're not getting anywhere here. Hang out in the frozen foods. Usually it's super cold in the grocery stores too. Pirate websites know how to give customers what they want instead. Exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'll pay. I have no problem paying like legitimately for like watching the games and stuff that I want to watch. But like, I just don't want anything else. I don't want any other crap. I'll go on and find the information and find the news and whatever on freaking Google afterwards or on Twitter or wherever. Like, I don't need the fucking news. Like, I don't need all the 17 news channels that you guys have. I don't want to pay for them. I'm not going to watch them. They will never see the light of day in my TV. Like on my TV, they will never, the sports games, they will. But anything else will not. So, no, but like those pirated sites, I have to do a deep dive to see what's available and stuff going into this year. Because usually they shut some of them down every year. They get shut down and stuff. So you got to go, and every year you got to kind of refresh them. But I'm sure there'll be some out there, and that's unfortunately where I'm going to have to watch a lot of the games from, because I'm not paying $600. I'm not paying like stupid amounts of money for like fucking YouTube TV or whatever. Like, no point. When I got to go a little bit out of my way to get it for free, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Also, yeah, when looking at like loans and rates, that's like it's who knows, but I think the higher likelihood is that that is going to come down over the coming months to years, rate wise. So maybe if something happens and we got to print again hard, maybe that's going to change, but 1, 2, 3 movies for anything, various sites for sports. That was one thing that I had a problem with was on my new TV, was like the AirPlay feature. For whatever reason, it like works when you want to AirPlay from YouTube or Netflix or whatever on from your phone to the TV. But if you want to AirPlay like from any of those like sketchy sites or whatever, it doesn't work. So I was like, it kind of sucks. So you have to kind of I have to go the whole route of like USB or whatever, HDMI to the computer to pull it up on the TV, but whatever. Not a big deal. Not a big deal in the grand scheme. So Q's never actually broke down or broke. I'm just kind of in this consolidation here. So going in. Oh yeah, did I show you guys the AAII? I think I sent it in the. Did I send it in on Discord? I don't even know. This is a freaking bullish. It's fuck. This came in 51% bullish on the AAII sentiment survey. So it's where people think the market's going to go in the next 6 months. This is a 1 year plus, maybe almost like a 2 year bullish high, maybe more on that, which is pretty insane. Let's see if I can just go down to the historical data. How deep can we go? Yeah, I mean, you go back to February 22nd of, I guess that's last year. No, it's this year. Let's go to complete historical data. Let's see what we can pull up. Boom. This looks like a friggin' a lot. Okay. If I were to go back, here we go. Yeah, you got to go back. Like, when is the last time that we saw a 50 plus bullish? I know this is kind of tough to read. If I can zoom it in. Why is it not letting me zoom in? Here we go. Okay, so you have to go. Let's see. So where are we at right now? We're here. So we just got a 51% bullish. You have to go. We only got into the 40s in June. That went from 20. That was a big jump. But June through now, we've been 40 plus bullish, which is like pretty decently bullish. That's like a pretty decently bullish rating, right? The bull bear spread is probably a better way to look at it, to be honest with you, I would say. That's a much better way to look at it. But this was like pretty much negative from June, like from like May going back all the way through like most of the year. Back February, it went positive briefly, but like it was negative for a while. So to find a 50, when was the last time we were in the 50s on bullish sentiment? We nipped to the upper 20s and 30s a couple of times throughout the bear market of 2022, but we never got like into the 40s. So let me see if I can find a 50. 30s back in March, not surprising, of 2022. Upper 30s back in December of 2021. 48 was in November of 2021. Yeah, this is far. 44. No, dude. You got to go back to April 22nd. The 3 weeks leading up to that date, we had 50+% bullish. April 22nd, 2021. So what does that put us at? April 22nd, 2021. Let's go to SPY. Market just closed, by the way. S&P pretty much closing flat. NASDAQ or QQQ down 0.32. IWM down 0.34. And DIA down 0.09. Not much. So if you go back to April of 2021, where was the stock market in April of 2021? Yeah, it was here. It was here. So that's when bullish sentiment like ripped higher. Was like right into here. And then we had like a 2 week span of like kind of pulling back, and then we went higher on that. So like it wasn't a huge pullback, but it was a decent pullback. I guess it went from 420s down to like 404. So, you know, that's like SPY dropping $20 on us right now. So if SPY fell back to the 430s, that's like the same type of pullback that we're looking at right now. So, I mean, yeah, it's just, and then the key was what happened after that. Sentiment goes from 50% bullish, then it fell back into the 40s and 30s. The spread still stayed positive though, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's the last time it was, so it's like over 2 years ago. Oh, you got to go back over 2 years to see bullish sentiment this strong, which is like, oh, that's pretty impressive if you ask me. But yeah, pullback and fall are so large. That's the thing. I think you need, if we're going to go to all-time highs, it could happen nice and slow, or like you probably need a gut check, and then that gut check needs to be met with some decent bears and some pessimism. If it's not, maybe that can be, I don't want to say the end, maybe that's notable. But if it's met with some bears, people flipping sides, the second we get some nice pullbacks, dude, it's going to send us back up, because no guarantees, right? Anything can happen. But what you're having a situation of is people are missing out, right? They're on the wrong side. They were like, hey, I'm going to short this thing. I'm going to wait for it to come back down, or it's going to go lower. It didn't go lower, right? In here, didn't go lower. And then in this move, no, I'm going to wait for a pullback if I want to get in. And now we're not getting pullbacks. There's no pullback so far. It keeps going. So the pullbacks are tiny. The pullbacks are like 2%. It seems like. So it's literally making it very difficult for someone who's trying to time the market to get in, right? Hence why it's not a good idea to do that in the first place. So I don't know, but either way, it's making for an interesting week. Next week's a big earnings week. We'll have to see how that goes. I will not be here. I'm going to wrap things up for today. I will not be here probably until next Sunday, and I may or may not be able to do a stream next Sunday. We'll see. But either way, it'll be like July 31st, that Monday, we'll be back in the saddle for live streams, worst case scenario. I've got a couple videos, though, for next week. One will go out tomorrow, this week's recap, but then we've got a couple videos that I think are be pretty good to drop next week, and we'll see. So we will see. A good toe pick every now and again. Yeah, I do. All right, guys. With that said, thanks so much for watching, hanging out. Hit the thumbs up on the way out if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great weekend, and see you in over a week. Peace.